the 49ers lost to the Lions, and that is a shocker to nobody. I think we all predicted that the Lions were going to win this game. Although I have to give credit to the 49ers. They made this a game. Like, I think we predicted it was going to be a blowout, right, Mike?
Maybe you said it would be a little closer than expected. I think I probably said that it was going to be a blowout. I could be wrong, but
I think I did say, it was just like, the Niners play at like, Niner games just always have their own pace to it, typically. And I'm just surprised with how many points they were able to score. Like, Jesus over here says horrible defense. Yeah, I mean, that's been pretty much the story of the 49ers this year. There were some games where their defense played better than their offense, but like, I don't know. The 49ers having a close game with the Lions and it not being a defensive battle is shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, the defense has been a story this season, but also the Lions offense has been a story this season, and they didn't rest their starters in a game that they didn't need. So it makes sense to me that they were putting up the points on you guys,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's very interesting, and I kind of get it from Dan Campbell's perspective, but at the same time, it's like you should play a little bit smarter. Like that's my thing with Dan Campbell. He has everything, everything that he stands for. I absolutely love, but he's very much like, his philosophy is you live by the sword, you die by the sword, except the sword in this case is, you live rolling the dice, you die rolling the dice. And so most of the time it has worked for him, since last year. But, that could be something in the future to where, players and fans can get tired of it. But I mean, I'd say right now, everybody who is a Detroit Lions fan has got to love Dan Campbell. Like,
oh man,
there's nothing not to love. If he was the coach of the 49ers, oh my God, I'd be in heaven right now. He's an easy guy to root for. But, in terms of the story of this game, Brock Purdy did leave the game with an injury towards the end. And I guess it's sort of like a nerve issue on his throwing elbow. It's the elbow that he got surgically repaired. But what I honestly think that it is, I don't think it has anything to do with the UCL. I mean, it could. I'm not a doctor, but having played football before, so I was an offensive lineman, and this was sophomore year. I was on JV, and I played right tackle. So I had a pulling guard actually come. They pulled into the gap that I was trying to block, right? And literally, I got a face mask to the funny bone, and my entire arm just like shut down. Like I was in so much pain, and like. I think I had to sit out for like a play or so, during practice because, we were scrimmaging, against the scout team defense. And so it's one of those feelings that it's such a, how it is to hit your funny bone. Now imagine you amplify that by 10. And I promise you after that, every single practice I wore elbow pads, and every single game I wore elbow pads. From then on now, from there on out, I was not dealing with that ever again. Now, unfortunately for Brock Purdy, he cannot wear an elbow pad on his throwing arm, but hopefully the injury isn't so significant that it's going to hold him out. I mean, really, the 49ers shouldn't even push him to play in this final game that we're going to preview next. But Brock Purdy did throw a pair of interceptions, which is always no good. He's thrown a lot of interceptions compared to the amount of touchdowns that he has this year. But Purdy today was 27 of 35 for 377 yards, which I think is his career high. He had 3 touchdowns and I think 1 touchdown on the ground as well, which was a sweet play. Then when Purdy got knocked out of the game, Joshua Dobbs did come in, and Dobbs looked really good. Did you catch any of Josh Dobbs playing, Mike?
No, I started driving home about an hour drive in like the late third, if not right as the fourth quarter started. So I didn't get to catch any of that.
Josh Dobbs was really good. He even had a rushing touchdown as well. So he was 3 of 4 for 35 yards. No passing touchdowns, no interceptions. Looked really good, comfortable in the offense. And he had one scramble, 7 yards, and a touchdown. In terms of the rest of the rushing attack, though, Isaac Arendo did have 9 carries for 34 yards, no touchdown. He wasn't really involved a lot in the game. It was more of a passing game for the Niners, which, I mean, welcome to 2024. But it was a shootout environment, though.
Yeah.
It was a game that was just like constant offense, and really the 49ers put up 34 points, so it was working for the most part. It was just the interceptions that kind of killed them. And
Pearsall.
Oh, dude, okay, I was going to get to Pearsall. Pearsall had a great game today.
Yeah.
We'll get to him in a minute. But all right, so finishing off the rushing, Deebo Samuel also had 3 carries for 16 yards, so pretty efficient. Deebo over the past 2 weeks has been much better than Deebo, earlier this season. But I mean, he did not have a lot of volume, when it came to the actual passing game. He did fine as a returner, and then did fine in the backfield. So let's see. Brock Purdy had 3 carries for 12 yards, and obviously the touchdown. The touchdown was awesome because the pocket kind of collapsed. He ran right through the middle and just went all the way in. Pause. In terms of other carries, Ricky Pearsall had 2 carries for 6 yards. I don't even remember those plays, to be honest with you. But through the air, Pearsall, 8 catches, 141 yards, and a touchdown. So Pearsall and George Kittle were great because George Kittle also received 8 receptions for 112 yards, no touchdown. But Kittle's been phenomenal this season. This has honestly been one of Kittle's best years. I feel like the past couple years have been like he's been underutilized, and I still kind of do feel like he's underutilized. But this year just feels like they've kind of given him a little bit more volume, which is good. It's great because when you have a great player like that, it's nice to use. I think that's probably the reason why, like, Mike, the debates, right, between the tight ends has always been Kittle versus Kelsey.
Yep.
If you put Kittle on the Chiefs right now, would he not, or if you put Kittle throughout the time that Kelsey has been with Mahomes, would Kittle not have been producing the same numbers?
I think he would. I mean, it's possible that Kittle isn't quite as, for lack of a better term, like the Madden awareness rating. Like his awareness rating might not be as high as Kelsey's, but every other rating is better in my book. He's a more physical presence to the offense, and he's more. I'd say he's just more dominating. The one dominating trade. Wait, what the fuck? Trait. Thank you. For Kelsey is his awareness against zone coverage. He knows how to find the soft spot in the open area, and he will kill teams that way. But you find Kittle wide open, he's going to kill teams, after the catch. Whereas Kelsey, it's more just, finding the open space until he has to get tackled.
I feel like that has to do with the freedom of the Chiefs offense, though. Like, I feel like if Kittle was on the Chiefs, he might also be able to find the openings in the defense. Like, I just think that there's like a playful aspect to, Andy Reid's offense. But going back to the receiving, Juwan Jennings was also very good in this game. 7 catches for 67 yards, did not score. Isaac Arendo, 4 catches for 65 yards, did not score. Chris Conley, he had a catch for 13 yards. And then Kyle Juszczyk had a pretty nice touchdown where he had to give an extra effort in order to get in, and he did. So 1 catch, 9 yards. Deebo had a touchdown catch. So, 1 catch, 5 yards with the touchdown. And then let's see. Nick Bosa also had a good game on defense. He had 2 sacks, and besides that, really not a lot of people on defense, did very good. But I feel like that's the unit on the field where if if not a lot of people are doing good, it's hard for many people to stand out. But Bosa was able to stand out, at least sacks wise.
He was doing great against a top end offensive line today.
Yeah.
He's been, I think, considering the season that the Niners have had, I think Bosa has been quietly dominant this year.
Mm-hmm. Definitely emphasis on the quiet, but
right.
But yeah, I think Bosa definitely has been solid. Not necessarily his defensive player of the year season, but yeah, Jared Goff today. I mean, Goff was great. He played better today than he did in the NFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that had to do with, it felt like the Lions went for it on a lot of key 4th downs in that NFC Championship, and in this game there was like maybe 1 or 2 times that they decided to go for it on 4th down. There was one they didn't get it. It was, I think, to get in the end zone. They targeted Sam Laporta, I think, and the 49ers were able to make a good play on defense. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs was just able to be very efficient on the ground. He got a lot of volume, and obviously had that 30-yard touchdown towards the end of the game, which really iced it.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, I won't go over every single Lions player. Jameson Williams had a really nice game today.
I wanted to talk about him.
Yeah.
Or not specifically him, but the play.
The hook and ladder?
The hook and ladder, man. I am kind of obsessed with that play. Like, I kept rewatching it. After like the first replay, I noticed that. Okay, my point here is that we literally talked about this, if not a week ago, 2 weeks ago, about Ben Johnson, and like he's the only guy in the league who is regularly doing 1 hook and ladder play per game, and he fucking did it today, and it was a touchdown. Not only was it a touchdown, but like, again, I watched it on the replay. I'm like, that play was perfect. Like, it couldn't have been a better drawn up play as far as creativity and just football smarts. Like, I was just like, it's one thing that it's a hook and ladder. It's another thing that he specifically set up Sam Laporta to be a lead blocker after the pitch. That's where I was like, fucking bravo. Like, nobody else in the league is thinking of this shit. And there's no way to defend it. The defenders were crashing in on Amon-Ra, who caught the ball. He's literally falling down, so they're like trying to go touch him. He just pitches it. Jameson Williams, one of the fastest guys in the league, streaking down. Once he gets the ball, Laporta just turns and goes up to lead block. Nobody was able to catch him. The only guy that could have caught him was getting blocked by Laporta. I'm obsessed. I think more teams should do hook and ladders, but they won't unless it starts becoming a regular thing because of Ben Johnson. Wherever Ben Johnson goes, whoever is the lucky team that gets him as their head coach, they will win.
Yeah, dude, his offense is so fun. It's like right now, most of the league is like the Kyle Shanahan, or I guess Mike Shanahan coaching tree.
Mm.
Like, you've got your Kevin O'Connell, you got your Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, D'Amico Ryans. It was Robert Saleh. I mean, I'd say more so for the offensive guys, but like, their teams are very similar, where they definitely, they love to run the ball typically. But like, I mean, it's okay, but it's not the funnest to watch. Scoring touchdowns is the funnest. And I guess last season I was so blessed to watch Christian McCaffrey have the year that he did, but like I mean, when you see the Bills play, the Chiefs play, the Ravens, and you just see how there's an element of like improvisation, and there's no improv. There's no improv with a lot of these, I guess Shanahan-esque offenses, the Shanahan system. I think the closest we got was like the trick. The closest we got was in the Super Bowl, the trick play that they ran for a touchdown. And then I guess like they ran that same exact trick play at a certain point this year too. Yeah. I forget what game it was, but it was a couple weeks ago. So yeah, man, the improv. But the only other player that I really care to mention in this game is Jake Moody. He's got to go. He's got to go. He's not good. But you know what? I saw this interesting tweet. I think it was Rich Madrid on Twitter that said Kyle Shanahan should be forced to keep Jake Moody for the entirety of his contract because, just as a punishment for drafting him in the third round.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should never draft a kicker in the third round. Never. You could even make the case that you should just not draft a kicker at all. Kickers get signed off the street so often and are good.
Mm-hmm. Or at least passable. More passable than Moody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not good. Did we get to talk about Pearsall?
Yeah, we talked about Pearsall a little bit.
Yeah. What were his stats? I just want to hear his stats. He had a good-ass game.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
I did mention his stats, but Pearsall, 8 catches for 141 yards and a touchdown.
Sorry.
That's very promising. I think for, a player that we've had a lot of doubts about, or at least not you, me. I've been very doubtful because he hasn't produced and he's a first-round draft choice.
Right.
And I mean, like I said, after they drafted him, if they could keep him and Ayuk, and then this could be more of a drop back passing, that would be great. I think, or I guess not necessarily that it needs to be a drop back passing, but like just you don't have to be so gadget dependent on Debo anymore. Like you don't have to. You can use that money for Debo's contract, kind of compensate that. Or I guess put it towards Ayuk's contract. And I don't know. I like route runners, And don't get me wrong. I loved Debo, the player, when he was great. In 2021, that was probably the best wide receiver season that I have seen out of a 49er, maybe in my life. I didn't get to really live through the Jerry Rice days, but Debo, it was like every single play in 2021, it was like a screen and he was taking it to the house or he was taking defenders for a ride.
He was he was special.
Yeah. It doesn't feel the same, but really like when players are that physical, their careers tend to, their primes just tend to be very short. Because, your body can only hold up for so long. But, Ricky Pearsall finally having a great game, I think, is very promising because it seems like they took out the targets that were going to go to Debo and gave them to Ricky Pearsall, and he was able to produce. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Good for Ricky. Bad for Moody, like Frank says. Moody, -7. Take off 7. The Niners lost by 6 in this game. The Niners would have had 7 points had Moody just made his kicks.
Yeah. One was really, a 58-yarder, but still.
Really, I should be thanking Jake Moody because he improved our draft stock.
Yep. In a game that doesn't matter. Like, it's nice that your offense was able to keep up with the Lions, but, you guys did the opposite of what the Raiders have been doing the past 2 weeks. So.
The 49ers should reward Jake Moody by drafting his replacement. Drafting his replacement in the first round.
Yeah. Damn. Oh, I know. I saw Grant tweeted something about like players who don't need to play today and players that do need to play today, and basically his point was just this is a point that I've had conversations with like my dad and my stepdad about. Like when the team, whether it's the Niners or the Raiders, are out of the playoffs, they are not making the playoffs. They're eliminated. Fucking forget it. It's like season's about to end. You got like 2-3 weeks left. Who cares about whether you win or lose, obviously, but what you should care about is who's worth keeping and who's not. So as far as Moody, he's not worth keeping, right?
Nope.
But as far as a guy like a Ricky Pearsall, like obviously he's a first round pick, you're going to keep him, but we need to get development. We need to see him on the field. Now is the time to see these younger guys on the field and see what they've got. That's the point. Is just when you're out of the playoffs, this is when we should see more Ricky Pearsall, and I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like right now, next season, I'm looking forward to seeing more Ricky Pearsall because he was genuinely, he was that good today. And I mean, maybe he can, I don't know, be a player that takes a step forward next year, maybe a Pro Bowler. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes next year. But, I mean, for today, I mean, great game, Ricky. And Frank touches on something that I completely forgot. Don't forget lousy kickoffs and that lame onside attempt. Mike,
I didn't get to see the onside, but I saw somebody like tweeting a reaction, which was, I think that was the worst onside kick attempt I've ever seen. And I was just like, damn.
Okay. Yeah, no, I literally thought that in the moment. But like, all right, so Jake Moody didn't even look like he kicked it that hard. Like it was just so nonchalant. And like, dude, it was a laser beam straight to the sideline.
Oh God.
It went so like it was so quick to go out of bounds. Yeah. Nobody had any chance at it. Not a single Lion, not a single Niner.
Yeah, Frank that just feels like the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Moody is shattered. No, Moody's booty. But PS says, I think Kittle gave Moody a little hope after their combo. Yeah, no, Kittle was talking to Moody on the sideline, and somebody. I mean, don't quote me on this. Somebody else. Yeah, I'm not even going to say that they read lips because this is obviously fake. But Kittle said that. Somebody on Twitter said Kittle was telling Moody, "Yeah, you better wear your helmet to the locker room because Devo's going to beat your ass."
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is look at that Bucks game, okay? You think locking in was, you think telling them to lock in was bad? I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Jake Moody is going to mysteriously be out next week.
Man.
But let's preview the Cardinals game. Mike, how are you feeling about this one? I don't know how to feel about this one yet.
Well, the Rams just beat them, and I think regardless, the Cardinals were already eliminated from the playoffs, so it's not like either team is really playing for anything other than pride and whatever else they play for. Maybe some players are playing for incentives. I know week 17, 18 is big on that. But you know what? The Cardinals played really well against the Rams this past Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And I don't know. I guess it really just comes down to Kyler. Like, I feel like the past couple weeks, Kyler hasn't been playing all that well. If he has a good game, like, I can absolutely see the Cardinals beating the Niners, in a game, again, that the Niners don't need. But then again, the way that their offense played today, suggests that they can obviously beat the Cardinals, and we all know they can beat the Cardinals. They arguably should. I would say my biggest question right now would be if Purdy plays. If Purdy's not going to play, I'm easily taking the Cardinals.
Not so fast, man. I actually think Dobbs looked really good today. Dobbs looked like he should have been the quarterback who played against the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, it might be just a good thing to just shut down Purdy and get to just see what Dobbs does in a real game under Shanahan.
Yeah. See
Did they sign
what
him to a
another
1 or 2
quarterback
year?
could do.
Yeah, did he sign a 1 or 2 year deal this
I
offseason?
think it was a 1-year deal.
So that'd be a good way to find out should we keep him on this roster moving forward. That'd be smart.
Niners should shut down Purdy. And yeah, I agree. I would love. I mean, we know what Purdy can give, but like, how does Shanahan feel about giving Purdy $60 million? Wouldn't you want to see? Can somebody else also be productive? Like, is it just Purdy, or is it just that Purdy is better than Garoppolo and better than Trey Lance?
Right.
And better than CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, and Brian Hoyer. Like, all right, come the fuck on. Why do all these quarterbacks suck except for Purdy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, easily in comparison, Purdy, I think, is the best.
Oh, yeah.
Josh, I don't know, man. I think it's definitely worth seeing. And I mean, if Josh Dobbs just shits the bed, you just move on to the next guy. What about Tanner Mordecai? What about, I don't know, maybe, I guess they would suit up 2 quarterbacks. I would love to see the 49ers not suit up Brandon Allen for this game. I want to see them call up Tanner Mordecai from the practice squad. If Josh Dobbs starts doing bad, put in Tanner Mordecai, see what he has. This game really doesn't matter, but in terms of predicting a winner, I mean, who is going to
bring up the board. Bring up the board. The Google Doc.
All right.
But who's going to win?
It's just a matter. No. Who's going to play and who's not going to play? Like, is James Conner going to play? Is Brock Purdy going to play? Like, there's so many question marks. Like, our prediction almost should kind of get reevaluated later in the week.
Right. I mean, we always have the opportunity. We've done it in the past where we text each other like, yeah, you know what? I'm switching my pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say right now, just the way things are pointing, I'm going to pick the Cardinals in this game. Simply because of Purdy, and I watched that Rams game with a fantasy football eye, specifically towards Kyron, and I felt that the Cardinals played really tough football in that game. Just after getting like eliminated from the playoffs, like they were still locked the fuck in. So I think that I think a lot of people, especially early on, were kind of giving Jonathan Gannon a lot of slack, but I think he's a pretty damn good coach. It's just right now he hasn't had much to like show for that, but he seems like he's got the locker room in the right mindset.
I'm going to go the other way because I don't know why. It just seems like the Cardinals and the Niners split a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think the 49ers could win. And could Josh Dobbs possibly be thinking revenge game if he plays?
Right.
This is one where if I do change my answer, obviously I'll let you know before kickoff. But yeah, man, I'll take the Niners in this one. I think that the Niners still played very well against a Lions team that, the same could be said about the Cardinals. They played very well against the Rams, like you said, but yeah, I don't know. I could very well. I mean, Kyler matches up very well against the 49ers, so there's always that. Like, he is every single time they play, he's always the X factor because he's able to scramble and he's so hard to tackle. But as of right now, my gut is telling me 49ers. But the more I think about it, the more I want to switch. So we'll see. We'll see if this lasts to the end of the week. But let me get to some comments, and then we can move on. Frank says, without Purdy, Niners are limited to about 40% of Pyle's playbook. Joel tuning back in. Joel, it's been a little while. What's up? Thank you for tuning back in. He said Moody balled out today. Yeah. Yeah. Moody. I mean, all right. Do you guys remember those posts on social media that the NFL used to do where it's like those graphics of like their stats and then like, it would also have like Mike, do you know what I'm talking about? It would have like a player's jersey, like their jersey printed on the thing, and then it would have their stats. They should do one of Jake Moody, and it's like 2 missed field goals, a missed extra point, loss.
I did one.
Or a missed onside kick.
Yeah, I did a little similar one for Kaimi Fairbairn on that video that I sent in our group chat.
Yeah. Dude, that video, that was a masterpiece. Okay. You have to teach me how to make videos like that, because
Thank you. Oh.
I would absolutely spend time doing stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I've always loved like movie trailers and just edited videos. Like that's what I eat up TikTok, dude. Like the cool, like funny videos I will repost happily, but there are some cool videos where I'm like, dude, how did they do that? Like, anyways.
Yeah, no, that was the video that you made. That was one of those.
Thank you.
Frank said Kryptonite Kyler. Wow, what a choice of words.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we will get to that.
Yeah.
But in terms of in terms of Kyler Murray, yeah, he has been the 49ers kryptonite, So Joel says, I catch replays. I mean, I'm just joking. You don't have to catch us live, or really we just appreciate that you tune in, watch the show. You're always going to be welcome here. So we definitely have always appreciated your support and are just happy that, you're still here watching.